Good morning. I'm here in my laboratory today on a beautiful winter day. It's been snowing all last week. And it's beautiful and white outside. The greenhouse is growing the winter crops, and it's a good time to maintain tools. So I have a lot of tools that have wooden handles, and they start out looking like this after a year of use and being in the greenhouse and having humidity. They start turning a little bit brown, and that's decomposition that's happening in the wooden tool, and we don't want that to happen. We've got the dibble here, and it gets pretty wet and dirty on the end every time I use it because it's going down in the moist soil. And most of the other tools don't really get that dirty unless we're sticking them in the mud or something, maybe part of a shovel handle. But what we're going to do is try to clean these up and then put a good coat of linseed oil on them. Linseed oil is a product you can purchase, and it's boiled flax seed, but it doesn't really say that on the bottle anywhere. It might if you've read it. But I like to take the linseed oil and paint it on. This is an old-time product that's been around forever as far as I'm concerned. But I just have a paint pan here, just a normal paint pan, and I dump a bunch in here, like this. I just dump some out. It's going to take quite a bit. So I dump out about a quart. And then we're going to paint this on. But the one thing I want to do before I paint it on is I want to feel the handles. And if there's a rough spot or any splinters or any places where it's drying and cracking open, I want to sand that down a little bit. I've got a piece of sandpaper here, and so this, the dibble handle right here, it is a little bit rough, which is not a bad thing. It's not rough enough that it's going to give me slivers, but if it was going to give me slivers, I would certainly want to sand it down. But we just take this sandpaper and sand it down, and you can use an electric sander, that's fine. I didn't get an electric sander out because I don't have one. Imagine that. I've had several over my lifetime, but I don't have one that's working right now because they've worn out. But there's a rough spot here, so I'm just going to hit it by hand a little bit right there. And then there's a rough spot on this side. Gonna knock that down. See, that feels a lot better, and that's it. And this is just 100 grain sandpaper. You can buy 100 grain sandpaper at any hardware store that's worth its weight. Wood will swell and crack and dry and then shrink with the humidity and everything else. So over the course of time, these will get to where they need a little bit of sanding. There, so that's good. So that's all there is to it. This end right here that's going in the dirt, there's two options. I could sand this down, stick it in the dirt, and treat that. I'd want to let it dry a lot for a couple of weeks before I'm sticking it in the ground, because this boiled linseed oil probably it's going to kill some microbes. I don't know. I don't think it's all that toxic. It's pretty safe. But I'm not going to treat that because I actually need to use it today out there in the greenhouse. And probably, I think I'll be planting almost every day for a couple of weeks here, because I'm planting little sections of beets, green onions, cabbage, kale, collards, chard, just those trays that I have out there. I know I have some romaine that's getting big, and the green onions, those are my top priority to get out of the trays right now. So I just don't want to contaminate anything if this is toxic. I have no idea if it's toxic. And even if we read the directions and looked it up online, they don't know if it's toxic or not, because there's so many articles saying, oh yeah, use all these toxic chemicals and in 5 days it's safe. I don't believe that. I just don't believe it anymore. So once we get that done, like that, now we just grab the brush, get a little bit of linseed oil on here, and we just paint it on with just any random paintbrush. It doesn't matter what size it is. And we just paint it on. So that's what I'm going to do to all of these tools. If you have tools that don't have a wooden handle, I don't think it's going to do you any good if you have metal handles or plastic handles. If it's metal, you just need to keep it covered with a nice high quality paint. The other thing about this is it keeps it nice and beautiful looking. I had a person ask me why I have a skeleton here. Well, I'm a massage therapist and I do medical massage. I help people recover from surgeries, and I help athletes who are busy competing, putting their body to the extremes of working hard. And so I have the skeleton here. He's anatomically correct, meaning that he has all the little spots on the skeleton where the muscles attach. And so as I'm working with clients, I like to have him here so that I can show people where their muscles are in their body and how their muscles move. And by having a skeleton where the muscles attach, it's easy to show. So that's why I have a skeleton in here. So we just spend a little bit of time. What I'm doing is I'm just working that linseed oil into all of the cracks of this wood. Now I'll get the handle part right here. Now if we get this on the metal, it's totally fine. It's not going to bother or hurt the metal a bit. In fact, it's probably okay, fine. And I don't know that it would help preserve the metal very much, because I don't know that it's going to penetrate, stick to it, stay there, and protect it. A good high quality spray paint that you can easily apply is probably the best way to treat the metal. And again, if the metal is rusty, if there's any parts where it's broken off, I would sand it down and then apply the paint. But I'm not going to apply paint to any of the metal because I don't have any metal on any of my tools that are in bad shape. The only rust that I'm finding that's significant on any of the metal parts of these tools is right on the blade, but I sharpen that anyway with the file, so there's no reason to put the paint on there, because I would file it right off. Or as soon as you stick it in the dirt, then it would come right off. Okay, so that dibble is done and finished. Now we're just going to let it dry. So that's what we do. We will do that to all of these tools. Alright, this hoe is in pretty good shape. There's nothing sharp or obnoxious about that one. So I'm not going to sand it. I'm just going to start right in. Got a few drips going on here. So that is all there is to it. This is the easiest thing in the world to do, to apply. This is a great project for kids too. If you need something to do with your children in the wintertime, this is a great project. let's talk about this rake. When I bought this rake, this is a newer style rake, meaning it was bought in the last 20 years. 20 to 30 years is what I'm calling a newer style. And they started putting on these, some kind of a shellac, it's a shellac or a polyurethane, some kind of treatment that they put on these handles. When you buy these handles nowadays from a garden center, these handles are going to have that on there. Well, the moisture gets under there and these start peeling off. I actually prefer just a raw wooden handle that's not shellacked. I don't think you can even buy one of those. And I'm calling it a shellac, but maybe it's not. But it's some kind of a wood treatment that's painted on. And I don't think it really soaks into the wood real good, but it does stick to the outside. But then after a while they start to peel off. Hopefully you can see the color difference from right here and right there. This is where it's peeled off. But as I'm sanding this, it's starting to take off that layer of stuff, and it's pretty messy in here. And if I did this a lot and created a lot of dust, I would want to do it outside. My goal is not to take all that off today. I just want to get it smooth. So just what I did there is pretty smooth. Now down here where I haven't done it yet, it's not smooth yet. Alright, so that's pretty good. So that's it. It doesn't take a lot of sanding. We're not creating a lot of dust. We're just doing the bare minimum to get this done. It's pretty easy to see where that urethane or shellac layer is still on there because the color difference is so different. But we'll go ahead and treat it. If I wanted to make these really beautiful, I would take that layer off. I would take it to the shop and get a big sander going and clean that up. But I'm just trying to preserve it. I'm not as concerned about how it looks. Okay, I got those tools done. Let's just take a quick look at them and see what they look like now. So here they are. So they're all done, sitting here by the door ready to go. So I've got 2 shovels and a rake and a pitchfork. I've got a couple of hoes, and I've got my little fine wire hoe, the dibble, the pruners, and the hula hoe. So that's pretty awesome. So they're all preserved and good, and wow, if a person would do this once a year, I think these would last for generations. Should last several hundred years. I don't know if that's true, how long wood will last, but I know that there's wood that's hundreds of years old that so that's it, voila. Nothing like a good wooden handled tool.